Today on this wonderful Friday episode of First Cup, we're going to tell some jokes. We're going to unpack some quotes. We're going to talk about Sonny Chiba. And I'm going to tell you about my recent obsession. Stick around. We go live in 15 seconds. Or I should say we start in 15 seconds. We're already live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Friday. It is August 20th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. That's super duper warm. Let's change out that banner. Oh, look at that one. Well, I hope you had a good Thursday. I hope you went and you checked out the episode of Martial Arts Radio that Andrew and I did. And actually, if you want to go even deeper on that subject, Francis Cordone over on his YouTube channel took that episode and kind of ran with it. He's done that a few times. Actually, that's how we met. Great guy. Trying to convince him to come up to free training day. We're not sure if it's going to happen, but if he does, hopefully he'll be teaching. So I love when people take what we do and expand on it. They run with it. They do something more with it than what it was originally. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Jenny. I think that shows that they're awake. I think it shows that you're thinking. And if you've heard me say it once, you've probably heard me say it a dozen times on Martial Arts Radio. I'm just trying to get people to think. If your thoughts lead you to completely disagree with me on absolutely everything, I'm good with that. But if you just disagree with me as a knee-jerk reaction, I disagree with that. I disagree with your disagreement. Yesterday, I ended up at let's call it a networking event. It is more or less a professional thing, but it operates in kind of a different way. So drove up to Burlington, had a couple drinks with some people. And it was a smaller group than this group normally is. And who knows why? Doesn't really matter. But at one point, there were, I think, 6 of us. And we got into some really heavy conversation that most people aren't willing to talk about. We were talking about everything from geopolitics and genocide and metaphysics. It was really interesting because everybody had such a dramatically different perspective. We had one person there whose parents were born in South America. We had one person there who was born in Iceland. And I think 2 of the other 3 people, had lived internationally for a substantial period of time. Like, we had all these great perspectives. And we just had wonderful conversation. It was probably the highlight of my day. No offense to any of you with yesterday's episode of First Cup. Good morning, Tommy, and good morning, Stacy. I love that you all are joining. I'm so glad that we started doing Facebook with this. I looked into Twitch yesterday, starting a Twitch account, and they tried telling me that the username whistlekick was taken. So I tried to get them to send me the password. Good morning, Craig. And it didn't work. So I'm going to have to work on that because that's really the only other platform we can do. Unless we can get the LinkedIn account up to 150 people. But if nobody's following us on LinkedIn, there's no point in broadcasting on LinkedIn, right? Twitch would work as a discovery platform. There are people who would stumble on what we're doing. And so I'm interested in going there. And I think StreamYard will let us do 4 broadcasts at the same time. What else happened yesterday? My recent obsession. So I want to buy some land. Now, some of you have been to my home. I have an acre. For Daniel, I don't know what that converts to. I think, don't you guys do hectares over there? I don't know what the conversion is. It's 200 something feet per side. It's actually a perfect square. And it's great. And I love my home here. But I need more land. I don't need more land. I want more land. I want more trees. And so I started looking around, because I had a few minutes online, at land. And there are some people selling 10-acre chunks in Vermont for almost reasonable amounts of money. And I started thinking, what would I do with 10 acres? Well, very, very quickly became, how would we turn this into a training space? How would this become a destination for martial arts training? And then I got really excited. And then I started looking at maps and looking at drone flyovers of footage of available property. And then I started designing things and it got really expensive. And I went, oh, hold on. We're not there yet. We gotta wait. Daniel says, we work in acres too, mainly for farmland. Got it. Good coffee. Good coffee. I would love to have this big, like, purpose designed training space. Oh, there are the bunkhouses where people sleep. There's, training hall 1 and training hall 2 and training hall 3. And there's, I don't know, the kitchen. And there's the spot where we set up bamboo for people who cut. And there's the row of makawara. And I don't know. There's the ropes course. I don't know. It would just, I would be obsessed with designing and developing that property, which is probably why I shouldn't do it right now. Because I don't have the time or the money. I can find the money. I don't know if I can find the time. Here's a good joke. Did you hear about the farmer who got hit with a low blow? He had 2 acres. That's a British joke. Don't forget the renewable pine trees. Yeah, you could definitely chop pine trees. I only have like 2 pine trees on my whole property. It's very strange. I've never been anywhere where there are more apple trees than pine trees, but my house is one of those places. There are more maple trees than apple trees, than pine trees here. Anything else happened yesterday? Went to the gym. I had the largest burrito of my life. I went to Moe's and I ordered a burrito. And what do you want? I want, well, they only meat they do. The only protein is tofu. So I don't usually do tofu, but tofu. Kind of rice. Give me that rice. Give me those beans. Do you want this? Yeah. Do you want any of these? Yeah, all of them. How about these? All of them. How about any of this? All of it. And the guy wasn't putting on small amounts, and he got to the point where he had to roll up the burrito, and it took him like seriously 2 minutes to roll this burrito. And I was watching him. It was awesome. And then he, I check out and I walk to the car, and this is the heaviest burrito I've ever seen in my life. This burrito must have weighed 3 pounds. It was nuts. I ate the whole thing. It was awesome. Tommy says, I'm describing where he lives, 10 acres on a mountaintop. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. There are a couple parcels down your way that look pretty good. There's one in Braintree, Tommy, that the price is right. But I'm going to see if I can do better. I'm going to look for people who, I may buy this land knowing I'm not going to be able to do anything with it for a while, just as a place to go. Just, go build a platform and set up a tent and just hang out. I think that'd be nice. Daniel says, I'm not jealous at all, honest. Well, my friend, there are plenty of things you have available to you that we do not. Like you can walk to something, like literally anything. I can't walk to anything. I mean, I can walk to my yard, but healthcare, we are not going there. We are not going there. My healthcare is being outside and drinking really good water that comes out of the ground and eating the food that I grow. That's my healthcare. Oh, coffee's perfect. Perfect. So I dialed it in. So for this French press, I was doing heaping tablespoons, and that was creating variation. 5 level tablespoons in this French press. Dash of salt. Bam. Perfect. I think we finally got this right. What's going on this weekend? It's going to rain, I think much of it, but I got some garden beds I gotta put in so I can get some fall planting going. And there are peas and beans to harvest and put up, and then of course 400 million apples that I can harvest that I should do something with. I'll probably do some more juice, maybe more applesauce. It's a different tree. Well, it's a bunch of different trees, but a whole different flavor. These are tart apples. So that's the weekend. There's really, I don't think there's anything big planned. Let me look now that I'm saying that. I was considering driving to Maine tomorrow. There are 3 people from the New England martial arts world who passed away in the last year, and there's a celebration of their life. I was not close to any of them. I knew 2 of them. One of them I had trained with a decent amount. But I'm not going to go. Not because I don't want to honor them, but because I don't think I have to go there to honor them. And when we stack up all the time in the car and everything, I don't think it makes sense. So there are different ways to mourn. Daniel says, I've got 3 apple trees in the garden in the new house. I'll be pressing the apples and brewing hard cider. Nice. Very nice. I may do, well, as good as the apple crop is this year, it probably will not be this good again for a long time. But it's likely 2 to 3 years before I even get a decent crop on most of these. If I was going to do cider, this would be the year. I just don't have the energy for it. There's too much else going on. I'm going to go out tomorrow and pick a laundry basket of peas. It's not that much, but it feels like it's going to be that much. I planted peas everywhere, and they did really well. Here's a trick. Here's a trick for those of you who grow tomatoes. Plant peas around the base once the tomatoes are established, and they vine up the cage. And there's some synergy going on in the dirt. It worked really well. Everywhere I did it, it worked really well, except for the places where the chipmunks ate them. But other than that, it worked really well. All right, let's dig in. You guys give me some stuff to talk about. Let's talk about it. We're going to start with Frank's jokes. All right. The jokes for Funday Friday. Today is National Radio Day. Remember that thing? Radio? Can radio be an addiction? Depends on the frequency. My dad always says not to crank the car radio too high or I'll go deaf. Imagine if that happened. I would never hear the end of it. What do you call an average radio? Stereotypical. I called into a Russian radio station to request that they play some U2. They shot me down. My grandpa loves to listen to music on the radio. His favorite genre is hip hop. When I was growing up, my mother's first new car only had an AM radio because the FM radio cost more, and she didn't care about the radio. If I remember correctly, she made them take it out and put in the lower grade radio. But the advantage to the AM radio is that we could get stations from all over the place. And being in Maine, we were getting plenty of French stations coming in from Canada. I didn't speak French, but I thought that was neat. Jenny says, you were thinking of all these wonderful, healthy ideas for your apples. I'm thinking of sugary, fatty baking projects. I do like pie. Fresh peas are a wonderful thing. Dennis is on board with the apple pie and such. Actual slightly related fact, do you know what the first song played on MTV was? Video Killed the Radio Star. I actually did know that. And if you want to see a really, really funny, I don't think it's quite an interview, but there's some video footage of the Beastie Boys responding to why they had not put out a video yet, because they were big. I mean, this was a really interesting time in music because genres were bending and everything. And the Beastie Boys were doing really well on the radio charts. And somebody asked them, why haven't you made a video yet? I'm not going to tell you how they responded, because I think you might want to check it out. If you're at all a fan of the Beastie Boys, I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good time. Someone called me on the phone and asked me if I wanted satellite radio. I said, "Are you serious?" I've had Sirius XM on a couple cars, and with the mountains, it doesn't always work here, which is really annoying to pay for radio and not be able to use it. My dad loves to boast about how he can get Mexico on his ham radio setup. That's nothing, I said. I can open my window and get chili. What do you call a radio that only plays music from the 1950s and 1960s? A boomer box. Here's a martial arts one for you. A couple more. Actually, we're going to save that one. Today, I saw a car parked with a bumper sticker that said, "I miss New York." So I smashed his window in and stole his radio. I used to tell a joke about radios, but its reception was always poor. And now, here's the martial arts one. What do you call Bruce Lee pulling a radio flyer? Enter the wagon. That's solid. All right, so we got some quotes, and Daniel brought up, many of you probably saw this on social media yesterday, Sonny Chiba passed away of complications from pandemic. And what was he, like 82? He was right around there. He was born in 39. And so Daniel's question was, what was your favorite Sonny Chiba movie? I don't know. I had to look up his catalog at IMDb. I know who he is, roughly. But I'm not a big fan and have not watched a lot of the old Kung Fu movies, a lot of the old Shaw Brothers stuff. It's not what I grew up with. And if you try to sit down and watch one of those for the first time today, we've done some of that, but they're not my style. But what I did notice was that he played a character in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. So I'm going to go with that as my favorite Sonny Chiba movie, because I've actually seen that one. He was in Kill Bill. I made it like 20 minutes into the first Kill Bill. I thought it was terrible. I am not a fan of his movies. Not Sonny Chiba, but what's his face? That guy. The guy who did that movie and the other movies. What's his name? I'm blanking out. Daniel says he was great in Kill Bill. I believe it. Old Jackie movie, Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. One of my favorites. Okay. Dennis thought Sonny Chiba was brilliant in Kill Bill. Quentin Tarantino. Yes, that guy. I'm not a Quentin Tarantino fan. Something about the way he makes his movies they grate on me. Maybe I'm not a film aficionado. Maybe I just like cheesy movies. Maybe I wasn't in the right mindset when I watched it. Maybe I was too young. What was I when that came out? Early 20s? Oh. Maybe I didn't watch it with the right person. I think I watched it alone. Maybe I should give it another shot. I don't like gratuitous violence in movies, and that's really a hallmark of Tarantino's films. Just let's make things really violent. You don't like Best of the Best. We know your bad taste in movies. Hey, I have great taste in movies. I have discerning taste. I have high standards. I'm not just going to watch something because somebody told me it was good. I think y'all crazy. Best of the best. I'm just mad they didn't put me in it. That's it. That's the reason. All right. We got some quotes, some stuff to make you think. And these are again, we're on a boxing kick. Why? Because I'm imagining, because it's really hard to find quotes from martial artists other than boxers. There have been a lot of boxers, and they give a lot of press conferences and a lot of interviews. People interviewed Bruce Lee. They interviewed Chuck Norris. There aren't a lot of interviews to pull from other people, which is a shame. I mean, other than, our show. Once I was at a party. This was at a time when it seemed like I had everything. I was young. I was undefeated. I had money. I'd just moved into my own home. People at the party were laughing and having fun. And I missed my mother. I felt so lonely. I remember asking myself, why isn't my mother here? Why are all these people around me? I don't want these people around me. I looked out the window and started crying. Oscar de la Hoya. We have this idea of what fame, of success should be. And if you take a look at the weird and sometimes oftentimes destructive behavior of celebrities, I think we get a better picture of what it really is. Cancel culture really is nothing more than the scrutiny that we put on celebrities extended to other people. I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't mind being known. But I don't want so many people to know who I am and what I'm doing that I can't do what I want. I don't want to have to worry about putting up a fence so I don't have to keep a curtain on this patio door looking out in my backyard. Anybody could walk in my backyard right now and just walk up and look in. And if I was famous, people would do that. I don't want that. You know how much fame I want? I want just enough fame that I could call my agent, which I don't have, but I would have an agent, and say, I want to do a guest spot on that TV show. And they give me a role that has like 3 lines. That's the maximum amount of fame I want. I want that. Because I think that would be super fun. To find a TV show that you really like, and you're like, oh, I want to be on this show. And you call somebody up and you're like, hey, can you get me a bit part on next season's Law and Order Organized Crime, which is actually a pretty solid show. If you like Chris Maloney, you should check it out. Give me a quick role in that. Have one of the mafia bosses shoot me. Like, let's do that. That'd be great. But other than that, I don't really care about fame. Matt says, what about Ong Bak, the Protector? I didn't know Sonny Chiba was in that. As I was scanning through IMDb, I didn't see that he was in that. If he's in that, I changed my answer. It's a good movie. Next. How do you guys feel about fame? Especially those of you watching live. Do you want to be famous? I have always adhered to 2 principles. The first one is to train hard and get in the best possible physical condition. The second is to forget all about the other fellow until you face him in the ring and the bell sounds for that fight. Rocky Marciano. I think the condition part makes sense. You should be in the best possible condition if you're going to step in for a fight. If I was going to take any fight, even if it was, some amateur fight, I would be training like it was my job. It would be no alcohol, no junk food, I would be training like my life depended on it. And I would probably stress myself out doing so. That's part of why I never did it. There's a part of me that still thinks I should, because getting punched in the face a few times would probably be good for me as a martial artist to develop in that way. But I don't want to. I don't want to get punched in the face. Anyone on my team of dentists, given that we're doing this right now, would probably lose their mind if I told them I was going to do that. Oh, I see. Matt saying that Ong Bak has gratuitous violence. Not in the way Tarantino does violence. Not in my experience. I'm talking about, let's just like bloody people up and just, I don't know. There's a tone to it that's different. Stacy says she traveled doing photography with 2 rock legend bands. They are so starved for normalcy. They even seemed amused that I didn't know an album of theirs. Awesome. People treat celebrities differently. I've had a couple moments. I'll share these 2 moments that were kind of odd for me. That, they're celebrities, and then I started with my friends defining myself in a semi-sarcastic way as a Pico celebrity, right? Like if you know your Latin roots, right? Is that Latin or Greek? Pico. I remember if that's Latin or Greek. Anyway, Pico being like a fraction of 1, centi, milli, Pico. I'm a Pico celebrity because I had one person recognize me by voice at a martial arts event. Hey, are you the guy with the podcast? Yes, I am. And then I had one other person that when she met me, she literally jumped up and down. She was very excited to meet me. That was kind of odd. I felt like that was a little bit excessive given what I've done, but she was impressed. So, hey, that's cool. I like being able to relate to people on a real level. I don't mind that people don't know everything I've done. That would be weird. We put out a lot of content. Even my best friends don't listen to every episode. So a lot of you do, and that's awesome. But it's hard to keep up. You know how I know it's hard to keep up? Because it's hard for me to keep up. Dennis says, I am with your description of fame, known just enough to be able to get bit rolls, but not enough so that I can't do normal things. Yeah. And Stacy follows up, it became obvious I was there to take photos, not because of who they were. And Matt says, I am who I am. Training harder for a couple of weeks isn't going to change anything except to make me hurt. Well, depends on how long you have to prep for that fight. Ah, okay. Apparently Tarantino had something to do with Ong Bak that I didn't know about. I don't know what to tell you guys. Maybe I just didn't like Kill Bill. Oh, maybe I should watch it again. Maybe we'll do it for a How to Fight, and I'll have to watch it. I don't know. We've got another one of those coming up to record soon. I think it's next week. Might be next week or the week after. Hard to say. 24th or 31st sticks in my head as the day that we're recording that. So I'm gonna have to watch whatever the next one is. Andrew will let me know. We're gonna do one more, and then I'll send you on your way. To send you on your way to your weekend. We've got 2 quotes here from Joyce Carol Oates. I don't know who that is. We'll use this one. We'll send you off. In no other sport is the connection between performer and observer so intimate, so frequently painful, so unresolved. I'm gonna let that one marinate for you. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. If you have stuff to contribute for Monday's show, you've got a few ways you can do that. You could email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. You could leave a comment under either the Facebook or the YouTube post of this video. Hopefully, though, you will join live. It's nice to have a good mix of people live contributing things, as today. That was great, as well as people leaving some stuff ahead of time that we can unpack. I hope you have a great weekend. And remember, if you want to support what we do, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. You get stuff. Check it out. There's too much going on for me to quickly explain it. Or you could grab something at the store using the code FirstCup15, like this mug. There's a bigger version of the mug. So to those of you who support, thank you. I appreciate all of you. And to all of you in total, thanks for watching or listening. And I'll see you back here on Monday. Take care, everybody. Peace.